First questions. Who got a good question? Let me ask. I'm going to ask this because I can see this. We can hear you. Thank you, Bookworm. I appreciate that. That was the answer I wanted to know. And thanks to everyone at BookTrib. As long as you can hear me, tell me you can hear me. You can hear me. I'm going to trust you can hear me. I love technology. So this is actually the very first time I've ever done anything from my office. And you can actually see my office behind me. I'm looking for the first question. Okay, here's the first question from Shelly Mead. Did you do, I'm going to read the question. As I read it, so I can't even lie and pretend I didn't see your question. So I'm just going to read it as it comes up. And whatever comes out, that's going to be the way we live with it, people. You ready? Here we go. Did you do any research before writing The Fifth Assassin? No. Next question. Oh, that's the first question. No, of course I did research while writing The Fifth Assassin. I pride myself on my research. And one of the things that happens because of the kinds of books I write, no one gets crazier email than me. No one gets sent more proof that Abraham Lincoln is gay. No one gets sent more proof that Thomas Jefferson is an alien. They send it to Jesse Ventura, and they send it to me. And so I get all these crazy emails of people that tell me that I need to go and I need to, answer and look at their family history. And sometimes, though, you get a real great answer. You get a real great question that someone will pose to you. And in this case, I had a longtime reader and a friend of mine said to me, Brad, I work in a museum in Washington, D.C. that almost nobody knows about. And you got to come see what we have here. And I was like, well, listen, I'm very busy checking out to see if Thomas Jefferson is an alien, so just tell me what you got there. And he said, we have pieces of Abraham Lincoln's skull, we have the bones of John Wilkes Booth, and we have the actual bullet that killed Abraham Lincoln. Would you like to come see it? Yes, I want to come see that, right? I want to come see that right now. So I went there and went to this museum in Washington, D.C., and they didn't just have pieces of the Lincoln assassination, but they had other assassination pieces as well. And it got me thinking, wait a minute, there have been over 24 assassination attempts on the President of the United States. 4 have been successful. And what if there's a serial killer who's meticulously recreating the crimes of all the presidential assassins from John Wilkes Booth to Lee Harvey Oswald? And that's where the research for The Fifth Assassin actually began, was my kind of crazy obsession with dead presidents. Okay, let's see. More questions. I love this. Tell us, okay, ready? Passion for Fiction. Awesome name. Tell us a little bit about the book for those of us who haven't read it. So, I've answered this question a little bit in the last question, and obviously it is a serial killer who's meticulously recreating these crimes of all these presidential assassins. But for me, what I think the book is really about is always myself. I mean, it's always my own problems. So I'd like and would rather today, rather than give you can look up any, put in me on, just about any Morning Joe or Fox and Friends or any other place I've been doing interviews, and you'll see the standard interview with the standard answer. I thought this, because it's in my house, it's in my home office, I should say, that we should do it a little differently. So I'm going to tell you things that I don't usually say to anyone for the people that are here today. And the truth is, what The Fifth Assassin is really about is what I'm dealing with. If you show me a book, I will show you what the author is dealing with at that moment in time, if it's an honest author. And for me, this is the very first book I wrote that I put together since my parents both died. In the past 4 years, almost 5 years now, I lost my mom, and then 2 years ago I lost my dad. And this was the first book I wrote since their passing. And there's all the things you put in a book that you're putting in there. But when you're done with the first draft, inevitably there's all these things you didn't realize you were putting in there. And for me, that's what was happening here, is there were just so many things that I was pouring into myself. And you get to the end of that first draft and you start saying, okay, what's in here that I didn't realize I was putting in here? And I was reading the book and I'm going through it and I go, oh, Beecher's growing up. That's what this book is about. He's growing up. And of course he's growing up, because this is the book where I'm growing up. It's the first book without my parents there. I have no choice but to be growing up. And I realized I had no choice but for this book to be about growing up. So to me, that's what really the book is about. Of course, it's about the culprit ring and George Washington's secret spy ring that still exists to this very day. It's about the secret organization. It's about how they're working and what they're up to. And you better believe it's about this serial killer who's recreating the crimes of presidential assassins. But really, what it's about is about my own neuroses and craziness, as every book is. Okay, let's the next one. Hi, Brad. Thanks for agreeing to chat. You got it, Mike. Happy to do it. Next one. This is like live. I love this. So 4D563. Was there an author or a book that inspired you to write? I assume you're meaning of all time, as opposed to just this book, and I'll answer it like this, which is, for me, I remember, I always read comic books when I was little. I love still reading comic books today, but in terms of inspiring me to write thrillers, the very first book I really remember reading, beside Judy Blume, who I loved, and other authors, but I remember reading my first Agatha Christie book, and I read that book, and it was called Murder at the Vicarage, and to this day, I don't know what a vicarage is. Don't tell me what a vicarage is. I don't want to know what a vicarage is. What I will tell you, though, is that I remember getting into those early chapters and reading and suddenly go, whoa, there it is, a dead body. And that's an awesome moment. And I think, honestly, since that moment when I was 10 or 11 years old and I was reading that book, I've been asking myself that, what inspired me with that question I've been trying to answer for all these years now, which is simply, who done it? And I know people, when you say, what's your favorite book, we all want to sound like high and mighty. We want to say To Kill a Mockingbird and Moby Dick. We want to sound self-important and be liked and show that we're smart. But to me, Agatha Christie killed it. Like, I just think that is, I love that body. I love that murder. I love that whodunit. And it's inspired me since. In fact, Agatha Christie is one of the heroes and heroes for my daughter just for that reason, just because she was so inspiring to me. Okay, let's see. Alyssa says, I'm delighted to see another Beecher White novel. Will there be more? Absolutely, Alyssa. I'm working on it right now. And Beecher is still in my brain. I can't get him out of my brain. And Nico and Marshall and everyone, and they're all coming back. And in terms of, I was one of those people, I've written 8 standalone thrillers. They had nothing to do with each other. I'll maybe hide little, things in each book, one after the other. If you really look, you'll figure out the tiny universe that they're in. But the truth is I just had never written a character who's recurring, and I just thought, you know what, I want to try. I mean, when I wrote my first book, it was all third person. And they told me I had to stay in third person. You couldn't switch, so I did what they told me. It was my first book. And then I wrote my second book, and I said, what can I do third person, but from 2 different perspectives, one from the husband, one from the wife's view. And I tried that, and that was different. And then my third book, I was like, I want to try and write first person. And I said, can I write third person too? And they said, no, the rules say you could just write first person. And so I thought, well, the rules say that I can't possibly change that. And then I realized, after it took me 3 books to kind of have the balls to finally say, there are no rules. This is stupid. You can try anything you want. And in my, 4th book, I started writing 2 different first person characters, and let's see how I can make that work. And the only reason I do it is it's not for stunt. It's just to keep it interesting to me. I felt like if I wrote the same thing over and over, I'd get bored of it. And then the truth is, after 4 books, and then after another 4 books, and after I finished these 8 books, I was like, I've never done a series character. Let's see if I can do that. And that's just, for me, the way to keep it interesting, and that's why Beecher is definitely coming back. In fact, I'm going to see the real Beecher pretty soon, so I'll tell him I told you. I'm going to there is a real Beecher, and his office is exactly as Beecher's is kind of described for the most part. I switch a little things. Don't tell him his desk is a mess. He'll be pissed off. Okay, L. Peters, I take it assassinations and killings aren't something you've been involved in all that much. I love the all that much. Thank you for that. Where do your ideas come from other than historical references? Thanks. For me, L, if I can call you that, I think ideas come from everywhere you look. I really do. And I think sometimes they can come from a reader who's nice enough to send you something like that. But I think sometimes what's really nice is when you have, beyond just someone handing you, when you find it in real life. And I think you can find good ideas anywhere. People say, where do ideas come from? It's the number one question we get. But I think they do come, from family and from friends and from God and from whatever you believe in. And just from, I will tell you, I'm terrible at, what's the right word? Description. See, that's the word I need. I could care less what any character looks like. It's the last thing I do in every book. And I will always kind of be, I'll be riding on the highway. or on the subway. I'll be, just on the metro in Washington, D.C., and if I see someone and they have a kind of interesting look, I'll write them down and put them in the book. So if you see yourself in one of my books and you're like, wait, that kind of sounds like me, and you happen to be in the same place I was, yes, that's you. I stole your face and I put it in a book. So thank you for your face. If you have a weak turtle chin and that's offset by a big mustache because you think no one sees it, yes, that's you. I stole you. You were riding in the DC subway next to me, and I put you in that book. Thanks for your face. Also, if you are on the highway and I'm driving and you cut me off, I have no road rage. I will just kill you in the next novel. So, sorry. Andrew says, how long did it take you to write your latest book? What was the writing process like? For me, when I finished my very first novel that got published, it took me 1.5 to 2 years. And I wrote that while I was in law school. So then that was the first one that got published. There was another one that never got published, but the first one that got published. And then the next book that came out, which was Dead Even, I wrote full time. I had no job. I had all the free time in the world to write. I didn't have law school. I had nothing to get in the way. I was like, this is it. I'm going to be able to finish this in no time. And it'll take me like 3 days to write this book. It took me 1.5 to 2 years, again, exactly the same. And it always takes me about that. It takes me about 6 months at least of research and about 1 year to 1.5 years of writing. And the research is, of course, at some point going on while I'm writing. But that's how long they all take the same thing, because it just takes the time to do the historical research and then just to develop the characters and to develop the plot. And I wish I were faster, but to me, I'd rather have the quality over the quantity. And God bless the guys who can do the quantity. There are some people who do it great. There are some people who suck at it. But I completely respect anyone who can do it that fast. I'm just not that person. Okay, let's see. Mike says, that was Andrew, the last one, sorry. Mike says, are you seeing a rise in conspiracy theories in regards to politics? That's a really interesting question. Absolutely. We are a world that seems almost unsatisfied with our real history. And, on the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, I wanted to show my son some 9/11 footage. I felt like, he was born right around 9/11, and I really wanted to let him tell him the full story. My wife was working at the Capitol, at the U.S. Capitol, the day 9/11 happened. She was going to the Capitol as that plane that crashed in Pennsylvania was probably headed right toward her. She was 9 months pregnant with my son, and so 9/11 had, a huge impact, especially because one of our dear friends, Michelle Heidenberger, our next-door neighbor, died in the Pentagon flight. And so here I am, it's the 10-year anniversary. I'm telling him, about these stories. And I go on the internet, I'm trying to find just images of not just the Trade Center, but of the Pentagon bombing. And I couldn't even find footage that, if I wanted to find it, when I was searching for it, it wasn't there, because all that was coming up were the conspiracy theories. The truth is buried by these theories. And if you look, even after bin Laden was killed, immediately were all these theories of, he didn't die, he's there, he's under the ocean, he's alive, he's running around, and in a strange, odd way, I really do think that with so much, it used to be that the great mysterious curtain, what was behind the mysterious curtain, it wasn't Oz, it was information. And we used to believe as a people, the information was hard to come by, right? It took a long time to get details on some things. And then information became really easy. And now we have access to more information than any society in history. But to me, we also have access to more noise than any society in history. And I think with that rise in information, and where anyone can broadcast themselves, res ipsa loquitur right here. By the way, that was the only thing I learned in law school, res ipsa loquitur. Latin means to have fun and to go to the beach. Yeah, you lawyers out there, no, I'm kidding. That's lawyer humor. I didn't learn that in law school. But the one thing I feel like we're not satisfied with is we don't want the truth anymore. We just want to be able to broadcast ourselves and say whatever it is. I can't tell you why. I think we almost want another curtain. We want an unknown out there. Having an unknown out there makes us feel safer, makes us feel like, the good in the world that we live in every day must be good, because there's so much bad or mystery or, conspiracy out there. But I've always said I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think that governments don't lie. I think people lie. And I think if you find those people and you find what they want, you'll find why they lie. And those are where conspiracies are born. And I think there are real conspiracies, absolutely, 100%. But I don't believe in every single one of them. And I think there is definitely a rise in them. And I don't know, if it's, I hope it's not because people are reading the novels. I just think that, somehow, someone once said to me that the reason if the devil didn't exist, he'd have to be invented, someone said to me, because, sometimes it helps fill the seats in the church, right? Having a bad guy out there that you can rally against is also a good thing when you want to fill seats in the church. And I think sometimes we, whether it's real or whether it's not, whatever your beliefs are, I'm not judging them, but I think that sometimes we need to believe in that bad guy so that we can kind of rally against something. I think we do look for an enemy. There's no better fight than when you have an enemy. Okay. Varus, if I'm pronouncing that right. So what's the craziest email you've gotten from a Decoded fan? Any CIA or intelligence agency fans? Craziest email. This is actually a crazy one. I love doing this from my office. Let's see. This is a real email. I'm going to read it to you. It's actually a letter. Look, it's really fancy. I love this letter, right? I have been requested, dear Mr. Meltzer, I've been requested by a client to contact you to discuss a potential project. My client's family has been involved in an adventure so outrageous that it could not possibly be made up. The facts would make an unbelievable story. The family I represent is quite influential, and the story involves international intrigue and individuals at the highest levels. I'm sure that an email like this is quite odd or something you receive all the time. Please contact me further to discuss this opportunity. Now, I love crazy emails like this, right? That is fun, because people are saying like really high up people are going to tell me a great, awesome secret. But that's just a fun one. The craziest one, my favorite crazy one. Oh, that's actually easy. The guy who brought me the Holy Grail. I mean, he literally came to the Barnes & Noble I was at and said, I have the Holy Grail. Here it is. It's for you. And he said, do you want to see it? And I was like, well, you brought it all the way to the Barnes & Noble. How could I not want to see the Holy Grail? So he gave me the Holy Grail. If you're looking for the regenerative powers of the Holy Grail, I have it. And I put it in the Barnes & Noble in Los Angeles, right between Meltzer and Melville, alphabetically in the fiction department. So you can go find it there. Any CIA or intelligence agency fans, we definitely get government people who understand what we do and love to tell interesting stories, and those are fun ones. So the interesting part is the people that tend to come from the high levels of government. They won't just email out of the blue. They'll either show up at a signing, or what they'll also do is, or they'll be really crazy. I mean, just being blunt, honest. Like the people who will email you and say, "I work at the CIA and I want to tell you something." Be wary. Because the average CIA or Secret Service or any other place in the government that has, really impressive people, most of them are actually pretty impressive, and they're not going to call you and just spout secrets. The ones who are calling you to tell you they have secrets, there's usually a reason, and I think you got to kind of be careful of those. Okay, Brian asks, is there any chance you might write any non-superhero comic books? Oh yeah, let me see. My newest, a non-superhero. I'd love to do a non-superhero comic book, but that's going to just take some time because we're doing too many other projects that I'm working on at this point. I have, let's see if I have it here. Ooh, love looking at my desk to find answers. I don't have a copy. Darn it, I don't have a copy. But the Decoded cover is actually just came in, and so I was going to try and show you that. But we have the Decoded book is coming out in November, counting down the top 10 conspiracies throughout history. And then working on a children's book with Chris Eliopoulos. We're doing I'm Amelia Earhart and I'm Abraham Lincoln. We're going to be 2 children's books that we're coming out with. And then the new novel. So comics have sadly, my love of them has not ceased in any way, but I've just been too busy to kind of get back to comics. I'd love to do a non-superhero one, but again, I just have to find the time. Okay, Jeffrey asks, do you find it more challenging to write fiction or nonfiction? Good question. These are all good questions. For me, nonfiction is hard for one reason, and it's because you got to get it right. You can't just make up whatever crap you want. In my novels, I can make up whatever crap I want. And for those of you who read my novels, you understand that's pretty much all I do. Um, but nonfiction is harder because you got to get it right, but fiction is harder because you can't lean on anything. It's coming out of your brain, you're making it up as you go, and that's the hard part. So to me, fiction is much harder than nonfiction because with nonfiction, all you got to do is just find the story, find enough people who will tell it to you, and find the best parts of it. But you don't have to really make it up. You just have to pull it apart and relay it. But making something out of whole cloth, building the house is like building that house with your own hands, and that's just always a trickier job for me. And I just like fiction more. Plus, you know what the problem is with nonfiction? You got to tell the truth. That truth gets in the way all the time. When something in fiction, if I see something and the president I want him to act differently, you know what I do? He acts differently. You make it up. So I like that. I like the ability to ignore facts for entertainment, and that to me is a much better endeavor, creativity-wise. Let's see. From Tim. Did your work on Decoded provide any source material for this book or any future books? Absolutely. Tim, I will tell you that when we did our episode on the Lincoln assassination, you better believe I started looking into the Knights of the Golden Circle, and you'll see the Knights of the Golden Circle when we did our Confederate Gold episode, started looking at that, and it absolutely was just while I was doing the research on the new book, and it was weird as I was finding things on the new book, I was putting them in the show, and then taking them from the show, and then putting things back in the book. So I think those who like Decoded have really responded the best to The Inner Circle and The Fifth Assassin, the two most recent books, because they're filled with all that research and all that real-life history. In fact, let me be honest, the only reason we have Decoded is free research for the novels. It's sarcasm. That part was sarcasm, too. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Who do I feel like? Do I feel like iCarly? Am I iCarly? Is that what I become here? Am I iCarly? What's another show? Someone writing right now. What's the other show where someone talks to themselves on a computer? Because I'm not Sex in the City. Grace used to type. But who talks to themselves? Can we get some answers, please, people? Or else I'm going to go to Twitter, because Twitter will never lie to me. Bookworm, you participate. Easy A. Yes, it's like Easy A. I'm totally Easy A. I'm Emma Stone. This is it. I'm going to go and sleep with a nerdy guy right now and try and be popular like Easy A. That's what I am. I'm Easy A. Although, actually, I'm like Emma Stone in many ways. I am. When you talk to yourself like this, you're totally in that way. Let's see. Nope, I'm looking for more answers. Okay, so better questions. Here we go. You participated in the ITW, International Thriller Writers, Operation Thriller 3 USO tour. What was the experience like? Huge love to Meryl and everyone that worked on us. So every year, for those who don't know, ITW, which is known as the International Thriller Writers, the association that brings together all the thriller writers, sends 5 or 6 writers over to entertain troops through the USO. And this will probably be the only time I don't make a sarcastic joke about it, but it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And I got to be part of what they called Operation Thriller 3, which we were the 3rd group to go over. I went over with my friend Michael Connolly and Joe Finder and Andy Harp and Kathy Antrim, and it was an unbelievably humbling experience. The best part, let me tell you the best part, because I want to give you answers that aren't on my normal. You can go put in Brad Meltzer USO, you'll see a video, it'll come up, it'll blow your mind, it's really fun. But here's my favorite part of the tour is they tell us you can't tell anyone where you're going, right? Don't tell anyone where you're going because this is going to be a really awesome, top secret. You're going to Kuwait and other undisclosed military locations. Now, the best part is they make t-shirts for us that say on the t-shirt all the places we're going. So I'm like, oh, I get it. So I can't tell anybody about these undisclosed military locations unless I'm wearing the t-shirt, in which case you can see exactly where we went. So this is the crack security in charge of our lives. That was who took care of it. Thank you. But the USO was amazing, and the experience was unforgettable. I mean, we were going across the world, literally. I mean, we're in Kuwait, talking about books and writing and reading and getting to most important part of the trip, say thank you. Say thank you to these amazing members of the military who every day keep us safe. And I know that's something that almost you can kind of say it in a cliche way. It sounds almost fake, but you have no idea how many ordinary, amazing people are keeping us safe every day. right? We all think it's like some kind of old Vietnam movie where it's like a guy holding a gun running through the jungles, and you forget that there are people. Like I met this guy who was like, I'm like, oh, where you from? I work in the Lowe's plumbing department in such and such city. Like I will never go to another Lowe's and look at the plumbing department in the same way again. It is just all these amazing people who are getting, he's like, I'm in charge of fresh water. If you're in the military, you're in Iraq and Afghanistan or these places, I will get you the water you need on this and this if you're in this part of theater. And that is just an amazing thing to see, to finally get to meet the people and see what they're really doing there. It changed the way I write about the military. It changed the way, and I mean that just in the sense of more informed and more depth rather than just making it a macho guy with a buzz cut, but realizing these are human beings. So I love that. I'll spare you the story that I've told a number of times of the guy on the submarine who sent me an email and changed my life. But put in Brad Meltzer and USO and watch the video because I don't want to ruin it. It'll blow your mind. Watch the very end. It's an amazing story. And Meryl Moss, who we love at BookTrib, is saved all of our butts in the end and really helped put the word out so people really know what the USO does. Okay, Jeffrey asks, what is the most common lie we Americans believe because of a successful conspiracy? That's a good one. I almost want to punt on this question until the Decoded book comes out because we have one that we're saving. So I'll come up with the number 2 one. I actually think one of the most successful conspiracies of all time is actually the disinformation of who killed JFK. I really do, and I don't mean the evil guys twirling their mustache and stroking their cats who people think really did kill JFK, but I'm talking about the people who really on a daily basis put out misinformation. Go watch the movie JFK by Oliver Stone, and God bless Mr. Stone, love his films, but look at his interviews and he says, there's stuff I just made up in there, and there's a whole generation of people that watch that movie and think it's fact, and it becomes fact because we stop asking the hard questions. And I think that you may not think of that as a conspiracy in its most used term, but that is someone who is consciously doing something to make you think one way. And even Stone will say he called it a counter myth to the Warren Commission. He knew what he was doing. He's a smart guy. He knows his history. And I think it's amazing because people don't ask that question. It wasn't like when JFK came out, there was no internet where we said, oh, here's what's wrong and here's what's right. We just accepted things. And I think it's one of those ones people forget about. As for other ones on the other side, government conspiracies, I'll save that. You'll see, because we're going to count down the top 10 in the Decoded book. You'll see my favorite ones. But to answer the question, Jeffrey, the most common lie we believe, I actually do think is that you have no power. I think that's a big fat lie. I think people don't realize that the power that they have every day. Okay. Mackenzie, thank you for the easy A thing. Shelly, I love your show Decoded. Me too. I totally did. I love that guy, Brad Meltzer. He's brilliant. Do you think there's any validity to an upcoming zombie apocalypse, and do you watch The Walking Dead? Okay, this Shelly's my friend already. I can tell whoever you are. I totally think there's going to be a zombie apocalypse. Probably right now. Don't leave the house. No, I don't. I mean zombie apocalypse. The only zombie apocalypse is like the one in Miami, right? Because I live in Miami, where there's like people who go crazy doing like meth and then become zombies and eat people. Welcome to Florida. It's crazy here. And I'm making sure I get this right. So I don't think there's any validity. Like I love that, right? Do you think there's any validity to an upcoming zombie apocalypse? No, there's not. That's like The Walking Dead wants to believe that, so you watch The Walking Dead, and I love, go Walking Dead. I do like The Walking Dead. I, of course, like the comics. I'm biased, and, but happy to see that, when things like that happen, when The Walking Dead works the way it works, it's why I hope we get Powers on FX. It's why I hope we, see these other shows that I can't wait to see. I want to see Brian Vaughn's comics made into, I want to see Saga and Why the Last Man made into movies that I can see and TV shows I can watch. So that's my, if you said to me, what's my favorite part of it, it's simply that, is that I think these other works that are so great will get the exposure that they deserve, and people will realize how many great stories are being told in mediums they don't even recognize. Okay, hey, BookTrib members, and make your questions. Well, let's put on Twitter more. People ask the questions, watch. Isn't mobile compatible? Oh, it's not mobile compatible. Okay. I love this. Okay. Retweet myself. When you retweet yourself, we gotta make up a phrase. What is it when you when you retweet yourself? What do you get? What is that called? Like echo? Okay, who wants a free? Who wants to? Should we like tour the office a little bit? Would that be fun? Oh, it's not letting me do it. Okay, let's see. More questions. Okay, who are your favorite comic book characters? Says Alyssa. You know what? I could show you. See this? Here are my favorite comic book characters. Here, I'm going to give you. Let's see if you. Okay, wait. So one person says yes. When we get. What kind of. Okay. How many people want to get a tour of the office? Let's see. Just to get some action going here. Let's see if people are alive and listening. How many people want to tour the office? I'm going to sit here and wait until we can get a couple people to say yes. That's another one. 2, 3. Okay, you guys get a tour. Okay, so here's the tour of the office. Never done this before either. Let's see how this works. Let's see how I can get this. You do that. Now it's going to look like. Okay, so you can see over my shoulder. Let's see how to do this so I can show you. So this is my office. So that giant poster is from the very first. Show you what it says. This is actually was in the New York City subway for my first novel, from the 10th Justice, and it's one of the only I only keep 2 posters in my office, and this was the ad campaign for the 10th Justice. And if you want to know, this will also answer who's my favorite superhero. This is from my run on the Justice League of America. This was a statue that I helped design the page of, and then they took the page and actually made a statue out of it. From the Eisners, let's see what else. Oh, this is actually fun. So this down here, these are all foreign editions of the books. So each one of them has, you can read. Let's see, can you read it? Rakato incrociato, which I guess means dead even in some language that I can't understand. And in here, let's see, here's another part of the office. So this is a closet. And if you really want to see what's in here, this is a hidden closet full of books. It also has, show you cool things. This is my Justice League membership certificate when I was inducted into the Justice League from DC Comics. As far as I'm concerned, one of the coolest things ever is to have your own certificate. Let's see what else we have here that's fun. We have, I don't know, lots of my novels in different languages. That's just fun. And let's see what else we have. Here is, let's see what we can see. Oh, this is cool. So now you saw Trust Your Friends. This is in the UK. This was the ad campaign for the poster that was there, which I love. And I showed my editor here, and they were like, there's no way we're doing that. And then here, there's a sofa. Here's some more books. And then this is actually, here's the view of the desk. This is the old antique desk that I get to sit every day and do my crazy stuff. And then, let's see, oh, I love showing what's on the desk. So here's what's on the desk. So the Tick, he's on the desk. Obviously family photos. This is one of my favorite things I've never shown anyone. Weighs a ton. This is Charlie Brown. And it's a bronze Charlie Brown that my mother got for me. And she had it in her place, and she would try to give me like fancy artsy stuff, and I was like, no, I want Charlie Brown. So he's on my desk every day. And let's see what else is here. Let's see what's in the drawers that's fun. It's fun in here. I might as well take advantage of the fact being here beside. What do I keep in here? What did I find? Here's Judd Winnick's home. His first business card when he's a cartoonist. Let's see if I can find my Legion of Superheroes membership card. People think I don't have one. I do. Here's a Superman. Remember these Superman cards from when we were little? I still keep mine. Let's see. Writers Guild, Authors Guild. What's fun here? Oh, here's my first business card ever. I love this. This is when I worked at Games Magazine. This is the first business card I ever had. Check it out. Proof. That was my first real job. Let me make up my own title. Here. People think I don't have a Legion of Superheroes membership card. Here it is. Legion of Superheroes. I also have, I'm an official member of the Avengers as well. I have that in here too. I can't find it, but I am a member of the Avengers. You know what they call this drawer? Loser drawer. This is cool. I think you need your own action figure. You know what? I think I do too. I think I do too. In fact, oh, want to see something awesome? This is my freshman. This is an awesome shot with hair. My freshman ID. Look at this hair. Right? Is that friggin' awesome hair? And then also, wait. This is awesome. So, actually can't show you the numbers, but this card, remember the old Rolodexes? So, this is an awesome story. So when I went looking for agents, they basically said to me there are two people that you should talk to, and I wrote these two names down on this card, on that card I just showed you, and they said one was named, I won't tell you her name, and one was named Jill. And I said you can apply to whoever you want, and I thought, well, Jill sounds like a nicer person, so I'll apply to her. And basically I did, and she took me. And it was all because of that one card, and I saved that card to this day because it was like, you know, had I gone and picked the other name, she might have never published my book. I would never get a chance to do this, and I feel like it's important to have that almost as like a totem in my desk to just remind me how lucky I am that I get to do what I get to do. I will show you something else that's cool right here. Hold on. For the person who said that I should have my own action figure, this is Dr. Impossible. He's a character I created. And what I love is that people have sent me like homemade Dr. Impossible sculptures. I gotta get a removable mask one where my head's underneath, but I love having my supervillain nearby. He used to be called Mr. Impossible, but he went to medical evil school for a long time. He deserves doctor. Okay, back to questions before we run out of this. Hey, where is the copy of Fraternity that you keep around? Ooh, this person knows me. Who asked that question? Yo, Geeko speaks. Okay, let me go back that way. I'm going back up because I skipped questions. So favorite comic book character is Batman. Did you base Beecher White on a person you know, either personally or professionally? You know, Beecher is an amalgam of kind of a lot of people. Of course, most importantly, myself, because what kind of narcissist would I be if I didn't make my main character myself? And, you know, he really does. I mean, he sits in the office. His office is a dear friend of mine who works in the archives. But his personality is no one but my own nerdy side, and my own love of history is his love of history. And I do pull a lot of his life from myself and from a couple other people. But what kind of groupies do you have? The kind that care about... Oh, I like the... Okay, wait, there's a good question coming. Okay. I don't know, you know, nerdy ones. That's the best kind I have. I really do believe that the only groupies you ever have is you get yourself. It's just a mirror image of yourself. So I love like the comic book and people who get really into the inner circle characters and into Beecher. I don't find them groupies. Like, to me, they're my friends. They're people who react to the same thing that I react to. So I love that. Would love a tour. These are all the tour ones. Just curious, as I sit here, what does your t-shirt say? Oh, I like that. Okay. What is this anyway? Oh, yeah, this is Chip Kidd's Japanese Batman, which I like. He found them that existed. Justice League, blah, blah, blah. How many languages? Oh, how many languages are there? I think there's like 24 languages, or I think we're in 25 countries or something like that. Why do you think there's never been a good Wonder Woman movie? Because they didn't produce Joss Whedon's script. Pretty obvious there. Mackenzie, I think you need your own action figure. Someone write McFarlane Toy Stat. Totally agree with you, Mackenzie. You are a pack rat. I am totally a pack rat, right? Does it show? I also keep on my desk, how do I forget this? Secret decoder ring, right? Gotta have one of those on your desk. Another person wants to know what is on your t-shirt. You people are really into t-shirts. Are you a member of the Nerd Machine? What's the Nerd Machine? Tell me, what is that? Someone write that in so I know what that is, because I'm clearly not. Are you a Michael Chabon fan? Of course, I know Michael. He's a sweetheart. Obviously, Cavalier and Clay is, forget about even being a nerd. It's just beautiful writing. What I love about him is he can just turn a phrase like nobody's business. I'm a plotter. His command of the English language and what he can paint with it is just incredible to me. I had someone who told me, they said, Brad, I read the eulogy you wrote for your father, and you didn't use any 3-syllable words in it. And I was like, are you complimenting me or telling me I'm an imbecile? What do you do for fun? Shelley wants to know. You seem like an extremely busy man, but you must have some hobbies. I do. I mean, mine is family. The things I didn't show you on the tour is because I just don't pimp my family out like that, but it's all my family. What you can't see on this entire wall is all of their artwork and all of their things. And I love movies, and I love TV, and I love reading. The same thing every other good nerd loves. What does your family think of your books? The honest truth is it's like the shoemaker's daughter, right? They're not impressed. They don't care. My daughter was in the office the other day. This part right here is her desk. She actually comes up and uses that as her desk. And she said, we should write a book together. And I thought, I've been waiting forever, right, for a child to say that to me. And so we sit down and I tell her how to write the title, and we put the title down. And then we put the words by, and then we write her name. And then we go to write and dad. And just as I'm about to write and dad, she says, Dad, maybe we should just leave my name on here. And I was like, did you just cut me out of the entire process? Like, you're not going to be a writer when you grow up. You're going to be an agent. You're a producer. That's what you're going to be. So she actually, again, because she sees it all the time, I think for the most part is not impressed a little bit. Maybe she's just a really good critic. Alyssa Miller, love Chip Kidd. Any chance of having him design a book cover for you? Alyssa, come on. Have you not seen, where'd it go? The 10th Justice. Wait, the poster in the back. Here. Wait, I'm going to do it so you can see it. This right here. Well, this way. That is Chip's design. Chip did my first 2 books. That's how we became friends. And he was my first cover designer that I ever had. So he did my first book, my second book. He did the Siegel and Schuster Society shirts that we did to save the house where Superman was created. I had Chip do those. I love working with him. He's a sweetheart also. Have you ever seen Stephen Sondheim's Assassins? Why do you think we're so fascinated by Assassins? I never saw the play because it was gone as I started doing the research, but I did read lyrics because I needed it. And I will tell you that Sondheim's Assassins is how I finally learned how to pronounce Czolgosz was there, because I could not pronounce his name. Needless to say, the person who killed President McKinley. But I think the reason that we're so obsessed with these assassins is the very same reason we're obsessed with our presidents. And, and make no mistake, we're obsessed with our presidents, right? We want to know what foods they like, and they like jelly beans, and they hate broccoli, and they, what's the name of their dog, and when are they going to do this? And, they are our kings and queens. They are our, Princess Di's and Will and Kate's. I mean, that's what they are for us. They are the modern American royalty. And I think the reason we get so obsessed with the assassins is we elect our presidents. Unlike a monarchy, obviously, we elect them. And as a result, we're invested in them. And when something, God forbid, happens to them, it's like killing a member of our family, right? Everyone knows where they were when JFK was shot. Like, people know that as well as any detail of their own personal lives. And I think, to me, I'm proud of that. I think what makes America great is that we do get to choose them, and we do get to have our say in that. And I think that's why we're obsessed with who takes them away from us. What is more entertaining, a theory that Teamsters were involved with JFK's death, or that the Vatican was involved with Lincoln's? What's more entertaining? I'd say Vatican Lincoln's. Teamsters and JFK I've heard before. Vatican Lincoln's I'm interested. Okay. Nerd Machine, aka Nerd HQ, runs during Comic-Con and attracts a mass of movie buffs, television fans, gamers, and comic lovers from all over the world. It was created by fellow nerd Zachary Levi from Chuck. Well, give them my number. I want a card. And if they don't have a card, then to me, they're not a real nerd organization, because a good nerd organization is either going to have a decoder ring, or they're going to have a card that gives a membership card, because us geeks love cards. Nope, I'll check it out. Okay, I love going to Comic-Con and finding that. Assassin's one of my favorite Sondheim's works. So dark and haunting. It is really cool. Okay, we'll do a couple more questions. So ask your last questions now, because we got to wrap up. They're telling me. Okay, here we go. How did you become so interested in U.S. political history, and would you write a book from a different historical period or topic? Oh, they have membership cards. They're saying, I have one. See? Did I tell you a good nerd organization has a card, like the Legion of Superheroes, or the Avengers, or Justice League of America? I did want to make, by the way, I want you to know, Justice League certificates for all of you to have. And it was just one of those things that we could never get done. But believe me, I tried. You know why? Because I love you. I do. That was it. True. What was the question? How did you become so interested in U.S. political history, and would you write a book from a different historical period or topic? I can't tell you why. I do remember it being in 11th grade, and Mrs. Sherman put on a movie. It was one of those movie days, and we're all excited because we get to watch a movie in class. And she said, she lowers the lights, and we're watching the movie, and it was a movie about JFK and his assassination. And it was one of those conspiracy movies, but not in a crazy conspiracy way. It was just asking the real logical questions that need to be asked, and the questions that the government at that point, and in many ways, still hasn't answered. And it was like the foundations of my brain were being kicked and thrust apart. I mean, it was really like just completely shook me. It was, and I grew up. Listen, I knew Watergate, right? I was a kid when Watergate happened, so I had seen All the President's Men with my father, and used to watch it over and over again because that was one of his favorite movies. But that was like, to break into Watergate took a couple guys, right? It takes a couple guys and your scrubby little plumbers group. But to kill JFK, and then to kill Oswald, and then to time it all perfectly in a police station, do all. I mean, that was just so much bigger. And I just remember watching this, going, wait a minute. To pull that off and let no one know, my gosh, how big is this thing, right? It was just like, it begged me, and listen, everything in 11th grade excited me. So, but that was really kind of my love came forward, and it was from there I just became a history major in college, and fell in love with the process. But as for writing from different time periods, I do write from different time periods in the novels. In the Book of Lies, I did a flashback scene back in Belgium, and I did obviously throughout all the assassination attempts, and I really did love doing that. I really did in The Fifth Assassin, writing those flashback scenes. So I don't know, I would definitely be up for it if I can come up with the right story, but if you don't have the right story, the gimmick isn't worth it. You got to find the story first and the story you want to tell. Okay, favorite snack? Ice cream, there's no question, it's always ice cream. That's not an opinion, that's just a right answer. I like Snickers. I like candy bars. You know what I love? My new thing, although it's not new anymore, but I love is the Take 5. Has anyone had Take 5 out there? It's chocolate and pretzels and yummy, all mixed into one. Time sure does fly. We only have a few minutes left before saying goodbye to Brad, and we will soon announce the winners of The Fifth Assassin. So you can get free books. Hi, Brad. Do you have any funny writing quirks? I do. I don't know if they're quirks, but I do know there are things I do that I'm crazy. I do actually have like my own little mantra that I say before I sit down to write every day. And it's important to me to kind of go through them. I also hide things in my books. I won't tell you all of them because some of them haven't been found, but I hide the number 27 in just about everything I write. And again, I won't tell you why. I love the Italian Renaissance. Do you find the Borges and Machiavelli fascinating? Sure. Who can't find Machiavelli fascinating? Who doesn't love a good maniac? Do you read your reviews? Does it discourage you if you get a bad one? Bad reviews suck. Anyone who says that they don't read them is a liar. Every bad review someone said to me once is like your mother wrote it to you, and it is true. I do think at this point I've gotten to the, at least that feeling, or I get a better vibe for bad reviews. You can tell which ones are kind of the personal ones and have nothing to add, but I hate you, you're the worst. Those are actually like easier to shake off because they're just, what are the harder ones to shake off is a really good constructive review. And I think what some writers do is they want to make it like every review that's bad is like, it's just insanity. It's not. There are great reviewers out there who have a lot of good to say, and I try very hard to learn from them because some of them are things that just, they're right. And a good reviewer and a good critic is worth listening to if you want to be a better writer. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when you get it, but it's just a fact. If you think that your stuff is great, you're kidding yourself. There's always something that can be improved, and I think you owe your readers, I owe you, everyone listening here, I owe you to improve myself and be a better writer every time to the best of my ability. Okay, last ones. Take 5 is wonderful. Alyssa, you are right. Waiting for it to be available in dark chocolate. I like the way you think, although I like milk chocolate better. Okay, last question. When did you first know you wanted to become a writer? The year I graduated college, I went to work in a magazine called Games Magazine. And when I was there, I was going to be there and work in the, I was excited to play puzzles and games for a living. And this guy said to me, come and work for me. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. And the week I got there, he left the job. And I didn't know what I was going to do with my time. And I did what all of us would do. I thought I wrecked my life, right? I went to this job in Boston where I didn't know what was going on. I thought I wrecked my life. I said, what we would all do in that situation, I said, I'm gonna write a novel. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I fell in love with the process and wrote my first novel. And that's where I fell in love with these imaginary people that I've been talking to since. Okay, last one. Jody says, hi, Brad. I feel honored to have been able to read an arc of The Fifth Assassin. You are and continue to be a great writer. Thank you. That is an awesome question. Okay, thanks to everyone for submitting great questions. Most important thing I'm going to say today is thank you. That's it. Truly it. I know it's like the first night of the holiday and everyone's running around at spring break, so thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting BookTrib. And thank you to everyone at BookTrib who is incredible, and they're also really nice even behind the scenes. So thank you all. Sending love from here.